On today's show, we feature Arlington ISD's archery program. Next on Conversations. Hello, and welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Stephanie Lee. On today's program, we are featuring Arlington ISD's newest athletic program, archery. Yes, bow and arrows. This 2015-16 school year, the archery program began with a bang. The Martin High School group won state, 3 individuals qualified for nationals, with 2 of them winning scholarship money. This is all thanks to the hard work of AISD archery coach Ricky Albus. We had a chance to talk with him and some of his archers about this program.
The archery program really came about because through our outdoor adventures courses, and so we started outdoor adventures at Martin, I guess about 8 years ago, and so the NASP archery unit was about a 2 to 3 week unit that we would typically teach inside of that outdoor adventures curriculum. And so it was one of the last units that we would do each semester, and typically was one of the kids' favorite units, and so much so that our kids at Martin began asking, hey coach, can we start a club? Is there anything we can do? So we started an archery club. Time out. Actually, what we did, I met with Dr. Cavazos and kind of pitched the idea of NASP archery district-wide in AISD, and one of his suggestions was, let's wait, let's kind of see, let's start a club first, see what kind of interest we've got, and then let's meet back in the summer and kind of give me a recap of how the club thing went. And so we went back to Martin, we started our archery club, had a little over 100 kids at our very first archery club meeting, and as the year progressed, we started averaging about 30 to 35 kids per meeting. And as I kind of went back and began asking, why the drop off in numbers, and the number one reason that the kids gave us was the amount of time, because we were having to meet during our lunchtime, and then just space. We didn't have enough space to handle that. And so for a kid to give up his or her lunch to come shoot 5 arrows, and give up an entire lunch, it wasn't cost effective for the kids. But we had a lot of interest, and so we ended up taking 17 kids from Martin down to the state tournament. And so met back with Dr. Cavazos and Mr. Hill about the success of our club, pitched the program again and said, obviously this is part of our strategic plan for our district, is to have 100% participation in extracurriculars. And so we kind of sat down, and I kind of pitched it from the standpoint that we've got all of these great things. We've got football, basketball, soccer, baseball, softball, everything that we've got going. But if we really want more and more kids involved, there's other avenues that we need to look into, and archery just happened to be the one that I was proposing at the time. And so fast forward to 2015-2016 school year, here we are standing in the building formerly known as Little Elementary, and I guess Turning Point Elementary, been just an annex, a district warehouse. Now it's our AAC, it's the Arlington Archery Center. The kids, we've been in this building since October. We're hosting all 6 high schools. We're on an A-B block schedule, and so we've got half of our kids come on A day, half of our kids come on B day. Not all 6 schools come each day. They come over after lunch every afternoon. We go until about 4:15. We finish up, and then transportation shows back up, picks the kids up, and takes them back to their home campus. This year we had approximately 95 kids, and we ended up taking just right at 90 kids to the state tournament. We had some tremendous performances by a lot of kids. We had, I think, 25 individual kids that qualified for state as individuals, and then we were fortunate enough, Martin High School ended up winning the 2016 state championship. At this year's state tournament, the tournament directors gave away $30,000 worth of scholarship money. 2 of our kids from Martin ended up qualifying for individual scholarships. We had Kiefer Wilson, who's a junior male student at Martin High School, finished 4th in the state individually and got a $2,500 scholarship. And then Jaylee Holland, one of our junior female archers, she finished 5th in the state and she's going to get a $2,000 scholarship. So money in the bank before those kids ever step off campus. One of the things that was really exciting about our state tournament, obviously winning the state tournament was special for us, but it also qualified us to go to the national tournament, which is coming up in the middle of May in Louisville, Kentucky. And so we're taking a full team from Martin High School, 24 students, and then we had one young lady from Arlington High, a young lady by the name of Allie Jerome, that finished 6th in the state individually, barely missing out on some scholarship money, but she's actually qualified to go to the national tournament as an individual as well. And so at the national tournament, scholarship money goes up, the stakes go up, and so now it's a potential, that we're battling for a national tournament. Some of the good things about it, obviously it's an athletic program. There's no equipment that's required for any of the students. We do have several kids that gone out and purchased their own bows, but by no means is that anything that's a requirement. There's no experience required, no prior experience required. I would guesstimate that roughly 90+% of our kids that we've picked up this year picked up a bow for the very first time in their lives in September, unless maybe it was a, Camp Thurman, a one-week camp somewhere, but the bulk of our kids have never shot before. We do host tournaments. We've hosted 2 pretty large tournaments this year. We hosted a state qualifier tournament in December. That particular tournament, we had some kids from out of state that came in, including the reigning world champion middle school team from Benton, Louisiana. We had a young lady that's the reigning world champ in 6th grade, a young lady by the name of Emma Bunch that came in. And truthfully, that was kind of the turning point of our season in regards to learning how to not only shoot, but specifically shoot at a tournament, because those kids had been to so many tournaments and really knew what tournament style shooting was like, that it was a really great learning experience for our kids. One of the first things that popped out was every single archer in AISD was back at the waiting line, and you look around and all of the little middle school kids from Benton are still at the shooting line with 2 and 3 arrows in their quiver, and just understanding the time and the focus and the concentration that's really required to shoot well in a tournament. So it really was beneficial for us. And then we hosted another tournament in early March that we just kind of called it the pre-state tune-up. And so we invited teams from all across the state that were qualified for the state tournament to come in for a little friendly match and things like that. The youngest age that we currently have is 9th grade. And so we started out with just the 6 high schools here in Arlington. NASP archery in general is designed to go 4th through 12th grade. So that's something that, hopefully as we look forward to the future, that, even if it's just trying to get some club teams going at some of our elementary and our junior high schools, that potentially could be beneficial for us. Obviously, it's like anything. If kids can do it for a longer period of time, then by the time they get to high school, then they've got that groundwork laid and ready to go. Blind bell shooting, and you shoot and your arrow hits the target behind your target. Big deal, right? That's the beauty of it, is that you don't have to stress. You can take all the worry about bullseyes out of the equation and just simply shoot, right? Feel that back. Feel your scapula squeeze on that shot setup. Feel that painting that stripe down your face on the release and all that. Just talk to their counselor about, joining. As of right now, I don't have all of the final numbers, but I know Martin High School is sitting at 146, 150 kids signed up for next year. Bowie High School is around 140 for next year. Seguin, I believe their final numbers for next year are right around 50. And so our numbers looking next year, it's almost like we've gone from a 0 to a 10 overnight. And truthfully speaking, it was something that I really thought would be a 5 to 6 year kind of progression, and it's becoming somewhat overwhelming, almost overnight. From a shooting standpoint, it's such a tough concept, and I'll be the first to tell you, and it's the same thing I've told the kids, 25 plus years as a football coach, where the score is everything. And that's a tough thing to kind of rewire your brain in archery to understand that while yes, the score matters, the execution of your shot is so much more vital, because so many people get so focused on the target, they get so focused on the score and so caught up in the score that all of a sudden they forget how to shoot. And so obviously there's an adverse effect. If you're not shooting properly, it has an adverse effect on your scoring. And so they've got to train themselves to understand that shooting properly is the #1 objective. And it almost sounds, you know, counterintuitive as a coach to say, quit worrying about the score, worry about shooting, and then the score, you know, will take care of itself. And so, I mean, admittedly, football coach Albus is a really bad archer. Just, you know, high-strung, high energy is you know, it's a totally different sport. I mean, there's not a lot of rah-rah to it. There's not, you know, there's no special play. You know, I can't call timeout in an archery tournament and say, hey, you know, run this corner kick, or hey, let's run this play, or hey, if our receiver will just, you know, stutter this kid. There's none of that goes on. It's, you know, once the archery tournament starts, you know, I can't help them. I mean, it's you know, everything that we've done up until that point, because there is absolutely not one thing. I can't help them. That target sure as heck can't help them.
I placed in the top 10 high school girls. I ranked number 5 out of about 400 high school girls. This means that I won a $2,000 scholarship for college, and that I will be able to compete at the national level in Louisville, Kentucky in about a month for a $20,000 scholarship, and for the national title for my team also. I had done archery at some summer camps, and then from there I didn't have really any practice with the compound bows, but here it's been really easy to adjust. I found out about archery through one of my coaches, Coach Harrington, and she suggested that I do it because it's a really fun class. It's just been a whole lot of fun. My favorite part about archery is probably the sense of family that I have here among my team. Because we practice with each other for so many hours a week, we really get to create a close bond, and it's just, I've made friends here that will last a lifetime.
I found out about archery from like posters around the school. This is my first time like ever seeing a bow, so I've never shot before. I placed top 10, and I got 6th out of all high school girls and 2nd out of senior girls. The whole thing is just so exciting because I wasn't really expecting to place, and I was super excited to find out that I was a qualifier for Arlington High School. My favorite thing about archery is like the confidence that you get when you're pulling back and shooting is just like something that you'll like never like experience with like anything else. Like it's just like the release, you just feel if it's right or not.
I was in the football locker room after a day of working out, and there was just a stack of papers on the table. I was like, oh, archery, football, archery. And so I went to my counselor and I just signed up. I've been wanting to do archery for years. It just looked cool. They have all the superheroes, Green Arrow, Hawkeye, just doing archery. Like, I can be them. I can be them. And so here I am. Actually meeting people from other high schools, Bowie, Martin, Sam, Seguin, because you never know anybody from those high schools. You just know people in your own little area. So you get to meet new people.
At first it was kind of rocky. It was like, I don't know if I probably should have chosen this, but then after a while we just kind of all became a family, and it was just a lot of fun to, we all became a family. Come back and give me my hug. We all became a family, and it was just really fun after that. So I'm definitely gonna do it again next year, and hopefully I'm gonna continue after I graduate.
I don't know how to word it, but I went to my counselor. I was like, hey, I need a PE credit. I want to know like what's new. I don't want to do just PE. I don't want to be basic. And she said, well, there's an opening for archery, and I was like, archery? Okay, I'll do archery, that's fine. And I kind of fell in love with it. My favorite part was actually meeting other people from different schools and then having them become part of my family, and like learning about other schools and how they do it and learning about other people is really fun.
I've been doing archery since I was around 8 years old, but I just really like to hunt, and I thought that archery in a school would just be really cool to do. And I'm really good at it, so might as well get some scholarship money in the process. I've never done the Genesis bows anywhere else other than at Martin. Usually I use a 35-pound recurve. I've tried to hunt for deer, never quite found the right shot, but I've taken a couple coyotes and some squirrels out with it before, so that was pretty cool. Honestly, I tell them repetition because that's the most important thing, in my opinion. Just doing the same thing you do every single day, but doing it right. A good form is everything. Score is important, and I do like score, but to be honest, like the way you shoot and your form is the most important.
I would like to thank Coach Ricky Albus and his archers for being on our show today. Legendary bowman Ron LeClaire said, "Archery is like a journey. It begins with a love for shooting a bow and a passion for watching our arrows fly." Hearing these students talk about their involvement with the archery program was exciting and rewarding. Senior students talked about getting their own sets to continue to shoot, and younger students plan to take archery again next year. Sounds like a bullseye for this program. Draw back your bow and let your arrow go. I'm Stephanie Lee, and thanks for watching. We will see you next time here on Conversations.